How proud of me were you? How proud of me were you?
Yeah.
That's a great way to start a podcast with a stutter. How proud of me were you that I talked about the Lions in a positive light on Sunday?
Oh, I thought it was fine. I thought it was cheap, though. You know, like I thought that was easy. It was easy money. You had to know that was gonna go over well.
But hey, they play in October, and it's going to be a totally different tone, just so you know.
So you're like, I'm gonna say this now before
Yes.
it happens. And
Cutting out the legs later on.
Later, we'll have a different conversation.
But hey, football season's getting ready to start. Come on, that was apropos.
Listen, I am trying. I love the fall. I love the fall.
Yeah.
But I'm trying not to be such a wishy-washy person of like always just like, oh, I can't wait for the fall.
Sure.
Oh, I can't wait for the winter. And
For
not
sure.
like enjoying the moment.
Yep.
You know, because even on Sunday I was holding the doors open for everybody, and I was just like, I'm loving this weather. Are you loving this weather? Like, and some people are like, too cold for me, and I'm just like, I know, because like in the winter I am gonna complain.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's mostly my husband's fault.
Yeah.
And I know he's gonna watch this for keeping our house so stinking cold.
For saving money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like smart, but like, you know, yeah.
He's buying you like a blanket for Christmas every year.
Yeah. I got like a really nice robe one time, and I was like, I asked for it, but he was
Yeah.
like, so you can just wear this. And I
All
do.
the time.
Layers, sweatshirt, sweatpants, robe.
I love the changing of the seasons, but in my mind, I don't think like spring, summer,
You think
fall.
about sports season?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's baseball season. It's
I don't-
football season. You know.
I still have a sister playing volleyball, so that's fair. Like, I
Yeah.
think like, oh, it's it's time for volleyball. I've been watching her games and stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, and like I do like football. I like to fall asleep to football.
Oh,
I like to just curl
how?
up
I
and
could never.
sleep on the couch when you don't care. Well, you probably care about it all, but
Absolutely.
I just grew up. My dad would just put on anything and
Sure.
say, oh gosh, Sunday. I just paint the picture. You're laying on the couch. It's a little cold, but you're all cuddled up. Oh, I'm excited.
Oh
Very
man.
excited.
So if we are going to move towards fall, and it's weird we're talking about fall because it is not fall yet. It's still summer. Are you team pumpkin spice or apple cider? Apple? Yeah, I think that's a Michigan thing. I think more people are more apple from what I mean. This is my
I'm also not a coffee
minute
drinker, though.
data,
so,
but
like some people like who love coffee are
Yeah.
like pumpkin spice latte. I don't like pumpkin spice.
overrated.
Yeah.
Overrated. Yeah,
Gonna get like canceled.
absolutely. Yeah, right.
Not
here.
a good way to start a podcast.
This podcast is not sponsored by Starbucks, if you
No,
can't tell.
Yeah, no, we promise. No, we promise.
Uncle John's. We're sponsored by Uncle John's.
Big B's apple cider.
Big B's
that I'm very
apple cider.
excited for, but that's besides the point.
Oh man.
No, your talk on Sunday, it was making me think because you kept saying like like we're reflections and everything. Please tell me you've seen that like kid lesson where they shine a flashlight at a mirror, like you're the mirror, God's the light, and like you reflect on different people. Please tell me you've seen
No.
Oh my gosh. I remember being a little kid in church doing that or like seeing that, and I think my mom did it for us once. Too.
Yeah.
The house is a little devotional thing.
Yeah.
Where you like put things out and you're reflecting God on all these different
Oh.
Just saying, I was like, it'd be so cool if we could turn the lights off and Jake could have like a giant flashlight.
You know how to make that happen. We'd been like straight up
I love a good,
light in the back with a full size mirror, blinding
Right?
people left and right.
Blinding
Come on.
a bunch of complaints coming
Yeah.
in.
Ah.
No, I was just like, man, that would have been so cool. I love a good, like an object lesson.
Yeah, you got to bring these up earlier in the
Before.
planning
I know.
stages.
Yeah,
Come on,
I know. I'm
Sylvia.
just not there for that. I was always after, but I kind of like it this way because you're like, oh, Sylvia, that's such a good idea. You're so smart. And then like, if it didn't work out or people were like, what? We'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know.
The good idea will just sit right here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But why don't you give a quick recap?
Yeah, so we entitled the sermon "Start Inside," and it was really moving beyond. Last week we talked about, or week one we talked about your wiring, fearfully and wonderfully made. Last week we talked about the gifts. This week is moving more to your calling, and it's just that idea of you are indeed called to build up the body of Christ, and that it really is important for every part to do their part, and that there's no spectators in the church. We're all to engage. We're all to use our gifts, and it's not just it's nice when you do it kind of thing, but like no, in order for the body to grow, in order for the whole church to get stronger, we have to use our gifting. We have to plug in. We have to serve. We have to get connected. We have to reach out. We have to do all of those things. And so it was really just kind of breaking down what does that look like there from Ephesians 4 a little bit more.
Yeah, it's funny because just as you mentioning the other sermons we have done leading up to this, one thing that you kept saying was like, it's not about you, you know, but it's funny because it is all about, it is about,
It is,
but not in the way that you think. It's more about you.
You matter, but you're not the motivating reason to do it.
Not the motivating reason to do it. And it's just like, but you are the one that has to make the decision.
Right.
Which kind of has a lot to do with Christianity. It's not about you, but you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we did have some questions come in. We should probably get to those.
We should. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Oh, you did ask. What was the question you asked at the beginning?
Oh man, what was the question I asked at the beginning?
It's in the notes, you said like, was it like, where do you fit? Or you said, oh, what might God want to pull out of you that you haven't seen in yourself yet?
Yes.
And so somebody sent in a question that's kind of along that lines, like, how do we know where we fit in the body of Christ? It's from Kate Ermitlu. So how do we know where we fit in the body of Christ? And she feels like she struggles with this question and she's not sure how to answer it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. Finding your fit in the body of Christ isn't about figuring everything all out at once. I think it's about recognizing first and foremost that you are starting with Jesus. Like Jesus is the one who's poured this inside of you. And then I think you can pay attention to how it is that he's wired you a lot more and being willing to try things inside of your community. Wiring is incredibly important. So you got to look at things like your spiritual gifts. You got to look at things like your passions and your abilities. You know, we look at Romans, Corinthians, they all have these passages based on different spiritual gifts. Those are good things to kind of maybe start with and see like, hey, how do I relate to those kinds of things? Also looking at the things that you are passionate about. Are you passionate about kids? Are you passionate about hospitality? Are you passionate about social justice? Are you passionate about whatever it may be? Watching kids grow, I don't know, anything like that can be a part of it. And then your abilities, what is naturally good at? What are you gifted at? What is it that people have said to you, like, man, you are just really talented at that and it comes natural for you, but it doesn't for so many other people. I think a good question to ask for this is, where do I feel most alive when I serve? Like when you go, it is that thing that you're excited to do. It fills your cup. You look forward to it. You look to make it better. You're doing the above and beyond outside of your serving time because you're thinking about, okay, if we try this video thing because you're so excited about serving in the tech booth, or hey, if I remember little Johnny loves these kind of toys, and so you saw it at the dollar store and you want to bring it as a motivating thing for him. You know, all of those are just great opportunities. Often our calling is connected to both joy and fruit. You know, the things that fill us up and the things that we're really good at. But I think, you know, you can jump in and also just try stuff. Like that's going to be a big part of it if you're trying to find it out. Right?
How do you know where you love to serve? You got to serve.
You got to serve. Yeah, clarity often comes through doing and not just thinking about it. So I can say like all along, like, hey, here's the things that I think I'm good at. I think I want to try out and try and like break it down. And this is why we stayed away from doing an assessment with the series. Right. We had talked about it and we had some good ones that were out there. And they're a resource. I'm not saying don't go do an assessment, but because we didn't want people to get pigeonholed.
Yeah.
We wanted people to be reflective, and then we wanted them to look inside and say, hey, what's the thing? And then we wanted people to take risks and take that step and actually get plugged in and start serving. And the reality is there's no part too small. So if something's interesting to you and you think, hey, this could be something I enjoy, feel free to be able to plug in and do that. And if it's a need, feel free to plug in and do that. Just start somewhere, and God's going to move you along the path. He's going to help you figure that out along the way.
Yeah, this just popped into my head, and it kind of leads into one of our questions. Let's say somebody served in children's ministry at a different church and tried it here, and it's not their jam, but they like serving at the coffee bar.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's another thing too, kind of like when you say like I love working with kids, and like, yeah, you might be a teacher and you might work with kids
for sure.
week. So maybe like coffee bar position or opening up the doors, like something else.
Yeah. We've had people that are, I know so many places, especially with teachers, that they're like, they're gifted in it, they're talented in it, but they're like,
on Sunday
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I get that. I do. Because they need that break. And so they plug in and use their gifting in other places, you know. But once again, some of the things that make them such a good teacher is also makes them so good at the coffee bar.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. So that's what I mean too. Like, don't make it, or don't think like, oh, I'm a teacher, I'm good with kids, that's what I should be doing.
Right.
There could be other things.
There's gifting and other things too. And that gifting can be used in other ways.
Yeah. So another question is, what if I serve where volunteers are needed and I don't really feel like that's the part of the body that I am? Mm-hmm. So they're just filling a hole that is needed.
I'm plugging a hole. It doesn't really fit my gifting. It's not my passion per se.
It seems like a gift though to me. Like
It could be. For some people it is.
Yeah.
For some people it is that they're just like, no, my thing is I love filling needs.
Right.
Like that's the thing that brings, I don't care what the thing is. I just know it's making a difference. That's the gift of serving. Like that's a thing that's in there. I'd say it's never wasted when you serve, even if it's not your favorite spot. In fact, it looks a lot like Jesus. Jesus washed feet for the disciples, not because his gifting was necessarily washing feet. He had a lot more of their gifting on there, but it was a need, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a thing. He fulfilled the needs all the time. And I think that is a piece of it, of recognizing that sacrificial love to be able to say, hey, this isn't necessarily my jam. And it's okay if it's not a long-term thing, right? But you recognize it needs to be done. And so you're plugging in and you're helping out for that need. And I think even being clear with some of the leadership piece of that, of just being able to say, hey, look, this probably isn't my long-term thing, but I'm happy to fill in. I'm happy to plug in and do these kinds of things for a little while to make sure it keeps on running. And I'm going to do the best I can to be a part of this, and then recognize I'm probably going to shift more towards some of my gifting or some of my desires or calling in a different area. But man, that's the beautiful thing about it, of taking care of one another, of being a family. Like how many times in your own family, in your home, that you're like, this isn't my jam, but my kid needs it, my wife needs it, so I'm gonna step in and do this because it's what my family needs for this time.
Well, yeah, and like I'm fairly certain nowhere on Sunday or on here did we say, like, even if serving in these areas like brings you joy and it's like so like whatever, that it was gonna be easy 100%.
No, for sure.
Like we've never said that, and it is gonna be hard sometimes. You're like, oh no, like we have to get to church early because we have to do this. Like yeah, it's gonna be rushed sometime. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
It's not always gonna be like, woohoo, I'm so excited to go
Sure.
do this. I think that like it's okay that like even if those things don't always go right all the time, like we still need you. Like you're still, an important part.
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
when maybe you don't feel like it.
Well, and we a lot of times think I'm either happy or unhappy, right? Like I'm either playing and filling a need, or I'm serving in my calling. Like it's one or the other. And I don't think it's an either or. I think it can be a both and. I think that many people discover their calling by starting where there's a need, and then over time they pay attention to where God gives them joy and fruit. Like there's some stuff that maybe they learn in that is able to say, hey, you know what, this isn't my thing for whatever reason. Sometimes serving where you need it is the doorway and discovering where your sweet spot might be. And so it's plugging in and being a part. So do both. Jump in where you're needed when those needs arise. Take care of the family. Do those kinds of things. Keep praying and paying attention to where God is going to try and direct you then to places where you may come more alive. But it's okay to have a season where you're just taking care of the family before you get into that spot that maybe is your real sweet spot along the way.
That is good. Somebody said, I feel like my gift is mercy or encouragement. So does that mean I should stop leading? So that's kind of like that leadership that we talked about. Leading a life group, Bible study, volunteering in children's ministry. So
good stuff. Yeah. So what's interesting is when you read the Bible, they don't say like the gifting of Bible study or the gifting of children's ministry or life group or any of those kinds of things. He gives the gifting of that's part of the wiring and what the Spirit has given you and how God has made you and all that. So if your primary gift is mercy or encouragement, I would say don't stop leading or serving, but instead let those gifts shape the way that you do that. Become a more merciful or encouraging life group leader or children's ministry volunteer. Use your unique wiring to just make that better and to flavor how you do those kinds of things. Romans 12:6-8 never suggested stepping away from leadership if you have gifts like mercy and encouragement. It didn't say like, hey, if your gifts are mercy and encouragement, you can't work with kids. That's not what it says. It just says instead let those gifts flavor how you work with kids. A life group led with encouragement, or a Bible study infused with mercy, or a kids class where children feel cared for. That's exactly how the church grows stronger, because you're taking those gifts that you have and you're using them to give a flavor to the areas that you're serving in. And the reality is, especially when you think about all of these areas, your life group that is more encouraging might be exactly what somebody needs compared to a life group that is led by somebody with a different kind of gifting.
Oh, yeah.
Children's ministry needs the encouraging piece to be in there for this kiddo, whereas somebody with a different gifting may speak to a different kiddo in a different way. Yep. So it's not like you have to check. And once again, this is why I don't want to do the assessments, right? Because sometimes these assessments will tell you, well, you're a 4 out of 5 on what needs to be in children's ministry. Well, that's not necessarily true. Like your gifting is needed in all of these different areas. We need encouraging people to run tech.
Yeah, that's a good
we need all of these gifting to come in and make all of that better, because if you're pigeonholed with just a specific kind of type, then that's all you're ever going to get out of that.
Like
and we need to diversify that more.
You're bringing that gift to serving.
Right.
It's not like your gift determines.
You're serving. Yes, you bring the gift to serving. That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Write that down.
Again, the good ideas stay here. Okay?
Stay here. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Our last question is, how do I balance serving with being a good wife and mother? And we can also change it into being a good husband.
Well, from my experience as a wife and mother.
I know.
Yeah. Let me mansplain about what it takes to be a good female leader here, Sylvia. Maybe you should answer this question.
If we didn't get canceled before, we're definitely going to get canceled now.
That's the goal. Also, the podcast goes black. Right?
And Trent's on next. Here's the new guy.
That's so good. I do want to hear from you, though, wife and mother, on this, because I did specifically ask for that, and you didn't know I was going to throw that back in there. But I'll answer while you think.
Okay.
How's that? I think that it's important to recognize God's not asking you to choose between being a good spouse and a good mom and serving in the church. He's not. In fact, I would say Scripture is clear about God's calling on things with our family and how important it is to be connected with our spouse and that loving relationship and investing in that, as well as investing as a parent and what that looks like, and as a church. So I would think you can almost look at it as like the circle effect, the ripple effect that goes out, if you will, because the reality is the healthier relationship is with Jesus first and foremost. And then as your spouse and parent, it's just going to make you even better in serving in the church. It's going to ripple its way out. So God's not asking and saying you got to pick the red pill or the blue pill. It's a ripple effect that goes through. And so I think that's incredibly important to recognize and know. I think a tangible step that you can do is to look for those opportunities to serve together as a family. And I realize that can be difficult. I have kids, right? So I know that not everything is easy to just plug in and say, hey, just do this. Just have your whole family be on the tech team, right? And it would be everything's broken every week. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But there are times that you can serve and look to incorporate your family to be a part of that. And there's also times to balance and be able to say, I can't do everything. I got to pick and choose. I got to prioritize things and prioritize my time of how often I can serve and where I can serve. And that season's going to change. You know what I mean? As your kids get a little older and a little more independent, you have a little bit more flexibility on some of those things. Now, as you get to phases where you're in that chauffeur phase and you're constantly running your kids around to all their different activities and stuff like that, maybe it's a little harder to do some serving, and it's easier to do a different kind of serving, right? And so I think it's just recognizing what phase you're in, investing strong in the rhythms of your family. I'm not a believer in balance. I'm a believer in rhythms, because I think life goes up and down, ebbs and flows, and you learn to ride the wave, give when you can give, take when you can take, all those kinds of things. But I think there is something at being able to figure out ways to serve together. We just did it as a family with the Fall Fest parade.
Oh, the
Oxfest parade, yeah. For the Fall Fest. We were promoting the Fall Fest. And my girls were so excited, more excited than I was, because I was like, yeah, you're going to wind up being in a stroller. I got to push you, I'm not excited to walk 4 miles pushing you around here kind of thing. But they were so excited to be a part of it. And what that teaches our kids, it teaches them to serve. It teaches them those kinds of things. So those are really good opportunities to be able to do. So once again, I think it just maybe takes a little creativity, but also perspective change.
Yes. Yep. To me, kind of like you already said, there is a point where sometimes you just feel how can I keep doing all of this? It feels like it's all piling up. But to me, it is, it's separate, but also not separate, because it's more about, I guess maybe wife and mother is who I am, and serving maybe is what I'm doing.
Okay.
And so that's just a part of who I am. And those are also things that I have to work on and obviously feed into.
Sure.
Can't just ditch those. But then, serving, it just seems different. And maybe it's because that's part of my relationship with Jesus. But then again, like you said, do it together. So for example, Jake and I hold the doors open on Sundays, or we're in the rotation to hold the doors open and to greet people and welcome people and whatever. And then Zahara will help me do that. Yeah. So she'll help me do.
She's a little celebrity at times when she's doing it.
And it's so funny because sometimes you can tell when people aren't in the mood to chit chat in the morning. The coffee cup is still full. That's what I think.
Yeah, there you go.
Halfway through, so I can just tell. Okay, it's still, you just got that.
Yeah.
Anyway. So like, oh, good morning. Like, how are you? Like, good. And then they like see a kid holding up their, hi, sweetie. How are you? Good morning. You look beautiful.
So true.
And so like, and two, you know, it's hard because like, yeah, that's one of those things we got to wake up a little bit earlier, get out the door earlier to be able to serve.
Yeah.
But she knows that that's what we do.
Yeah.
In our house, that's what we do is we serve.
For sure.
We serve at the church. She knows that I come and do the podcast. So it's just those things where it's like, you know, that's just part of who we are.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, like as time has gone, as you've become a wife, as you've become a mom, it's also given you a different perspective into serving, and the idea that like, you know, you maybe connect with families with littles a little bit differently than you did before you had kiddos in your life.
And it changes though.
Yeah.
Because like when I was talking before, I always thought, you know, like, oh, I'm good working with kids. I should be like in kids ministry. And I did it for a long time, but I like doing other things. And I kind of like doing the thing where it's like, oh, they just need help doing that, then I'll just do that.
Sure.
Or like, oh, they asked specifically for help with this. Yeah, like I can do that. So like I kind of like to do those things too. But I feel bad when people feel like they're stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
Try something else.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I think that too, because like we're your family. Like we talked about this before.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
The church is the people. The people are your family.
Yep.
We care about you. If you're not feeling something, we want to help you figure that out. And we don't take it like personal.
Well, look at it this way. Like we talked about the church as a body, right? If I hurt my knee, you know what I mean? If I hurt my right knee, my left knee is going to spend more time compensating as I'm trying to learn to walk and build up the strength in my right knee again. You know what I mean? But if I continue to never build up the strength in my right knee, then my left knee is going to get out of sorts because it's overworking in those kinds of things. But I'm so glad I have my left knee to help me compensate for my right knee. I shouldn't have said knees. I know, right? But you know what it is? Your body compensates for that piece that's injured until it recovers. So the ability to plug in and serve and say, hey, I'm going to plug in because there's a need there, and I'm going to be able to fulfill that need for a while until that gets to a healthier spot. And once that's a healthier spot, I'm going to go back to doing my sweet spot thing a little bit more. I'm going to go figure out and plug in over there a little more because this is good now. This is good now. And I think reality, like anybody who's leading in some of those ministry areas, when you have that conversation that says, hey, I'm happy to plug in as needed for a while we're needed on a season until you find somebody that this is their jam, because this isn't my jam. And so like I will step out of time. Like, great, fantastic. Thank you so much for plugging in, because it allows us to do the things we need to find people where this is their sweet spot.
Oh, yeah. And two, I think that some people, like your first thought or something might just, well, this just isn't for me. Like, I just don't like it, whatever. And it's like, well, let's like, what's happening? Like, let's dig a little deeper. let's do what Americans and everybody hates to do, and let's talk about our feelings. But let's just like, and the people who aren't serving, like, what's getting in the way?
Yeah.
Like, what are your what's the thought process behind I can't do it? You don't have time, or you just don't want to, let's be honest. And I think too that when it comes to serving, it's for me anyway, it was like a hump you kind of have to like get over, where you're just you're thinking about it too much.
Sure.
It's like, just do it. And it's okay if you don't like it, we'll find something else.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not that deep. We want you to be able to serve where you want. And kind of like what you were talking about with Ephesians 4, when he was saying like, as a prisoner for the Lord.
Yeah.
Which is just, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, we didn't get into that, but yeah.
No, I thought that was kind of funny. But just to make sure you're not wasting your gift, make sure that everything you do is for the glory of God.
Yeah.
And then how could you be wasting your gift? Because some people, I don't know what my gift is. I feel like I'm not fulfilling my gift, or I feel like I'm too busy with other things. It's like, just make sure you're doing everything to glorify God, and it'll happen.
It'll happen. Yeah. It's not overly complicated. Just do the things God asked you to be able to do.
Yeah.
Plug in, trust him. He's going to shape you. He's going to mold you, and it's going to shift over time. Some of this stuff shifts over time, and that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
So if you don't know where to serve, Fall Fun Fest has an open registration.
It does. It does. Yeah. Yeah. And the reality is,
things for everybody.
There is. And some of it, like, there are things that you learn, especially in a place where you're consistently trying to equip and empower and encourage volunteers to use their gifts and do stuff like that. You find out along the way, like, there are things that you're like, man, that is not my jam. That is draining for me. But for somebody else, they love that. They love that. Like for me, like Fall Fun Fest kind of thing, I could do the welcome desk all day long and talk to everybody who comes through the door and just be having a great time. I would love that, right?
Doesn't sound like
Absolutely. Please don't put me on balloon animals.
I'm on balloon animals.
Oh man, I couldn't do balloon animals. I get so frustrated tying those things all the time. And it's like, man, or the things that I can't do, or things that kids are asking like that. And I'm like, I don't know. And I feel like constant pressure. But like people walking through the door, I'm like, what's up, man? Come on in here. Let's get you connected. Let me crack some jokes. Let's, get connected, try and make you feel welcome and be able to do that. Fantastic. Food. I can do food. I love doing food. I did food at Fall Fest last time.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good because there was like a systematizing point to it of trying to get the hot dogs out faster that I was loving. But also as people are coming up and they're, not sure about what to do or what they're going to get. And I would just grab a dog and I'm like, hey, you want ketchup, mustard? How we doing this, man? How's it going through there? And like working people through the line. I was loving it.
Help you.
Right. It was so good, man. But running the bounce house, not my jam. Cotton candy, not going to happen for me. You know what I mean?
I know. Like I said, I see people at church who like really aren't serving or aren't plugged in. And I think the Fall Fun Fest is a great way to start maybe because it's a one-time commitment as of right now. Like just do it, see how it goes. And it's fun serving other people and being there for other people and watching people who do not come to this church, just their face light up. Like, this is for free.
And just be loved. Yeah. Just be loved and make connections with people and genuine conversation. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Is there anything else that needs to be talked about that's coming up?
We're kicking off a lot of group stuff right now. This is a great time, once we get past Labor Day, especially to start jumping into life groups, having those people in your life and investing in that. There's, I'm trying to remember, like maybe 7-ish new life groups kicking off this year. So like, fresh faces and ways to do stuff, variety of times. And, we always jokingly say date a life group, go in, check it out, see if it's your brand of weird. If it's not, break up with them, go find another one. That's okay. Fit matters. But there's also things like we've got grief share kicking off. We've got apologetics kicking off, like all those kinds of stuff. And we have, it's all on the app. It's all on the website, ways to get registered, do all those stuff, ask questions. You can submit questions there and we'll get connected with you on all that. So, jumping at Fall Fun Fest is a great thing. Looking at life groups is a good thing as we're all kind of like settling back in this time of year as well. So yeah.
Sweet. Well, thanks, Jake. I guess. Thanks everybody for watching. If you still are, congratulations. You made it to the end. But like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you on Sunday.